Man, Intel, the situation just keeps getting worse. So now we have earnings already come out for the different chip makers. Nvidia did pretty well given everything. I mean, it was a drop in all aspects, but given the current macroeconomic headwinds, they did pretty well. I mean, they beat on estimates, and yeah, everyone liked the earnings. AMD, I mean, they did well in revenue, not so good in all the other aspects, but they're treading water, like I said, and they also beat on expectations. Given the lack of demand for PC chips and stuff like that, I think AMD did very well, and especially against Intel, which did not do well in any aspect. I mean, Intel just continues to fail, and I bought the stock back in 2020 as a turnaround play because at the time, Intel was starting to take control over its destiny. It hired a new CEO. It started hiring key members to replace the failing manufacturing division and all that stuff. And that progress is still ongoing. They're still making progress on developing the fabs and all that stuff. They are supposed to help it do well over the long term. But as far as its performance, especially recently, it has not been doing well at all. I mean, if you take a look at the stock, I bought the stock back in 2020, so that was 3 years ago. It is not doing well at all. And as a matter of fact, it is brushing up against 5-year lows. It even hit it at one point, but I mean, it looks like it's about to hit it again. Now, one reason that people held on to Intel, other than the fact that it's a turnaround play that might come to fruition in 2024, is their dividend. And in their earnings, they defended the dividend, saying that they are committed to it, and they are committed to maintaining a competitive dividend. They said that in the earnings, and I think Pat even went on some news outlets to defend it. And so people assumed that they were going to hold on to the dividend. And that was before they slashed the dividend by over 65% to 12.5 cents. Now, my problem with this situation is, now I know I'm a bit late to it, but my problem with the situation isn't that they were going to slash the dividend. It's not that at all. As a matter of fact, anyone who listened to the earnings and watched the earnings, they knew this was coming. And as a matter of fact, my problem with this is that, quit playing and just cut the entire dividend. If they're trying to go that hard into cost cutting and, stemming the bleeding of cash, yeah, just cut the whole dividend. Just do it. So my problem isn't that they were going to do that. My problem is that they cut it after defending the dividend, saying they were committed to it, after Pat went on all these news outlets and defended the dividend. Then they turn around and cut it. So my problem is not this happened. My problem is just poor management. For a while now, Intel just doesn't know what it's doing. And this whole mismanagement and all that stuff, it leads me to believe, and this is my biggest fear with Intel. I said the same thing during the earnings, that, yeah, Intel could finish their projects, they can build the prefabs, and given how well or how not well Intel is actually performing, they could build all of that and still not be able to compete with TSMC, still not be able to get the chips out on time, still not make EPS, still not make revenue. Given how they're performing now, it gives me less and less confidence that Intel is going to be able to compete over the next few years, even if they do complete all their projects on time. They've given us nothing to show that. And they need to get their act together. They need to hemorrhage the losses, and they're not showing me how they can. Now, I've been holding on to Intel since, like I said, 2020. They've been a major turnaround play, but that was 3 years ago. And I said during the last earnings, as far as what I'm doing with the stock is, yeah, I've given up all the hope in it, but I didn't want to sell at the time. I think it was down 30 some odd percent with the stock. I didn't want to sell it at a 30% loss. And so what I was going to do is just let it sit there, not buy more shares, and just, let whatever happens, right? If Intel magically recovers over the next few years, then fantastic. I will sell out once I break even. And if it doesn't, well, then I'll just take the L. But now, given, more evidence of Intel's mismanagement and what I feel is misleading, I don't know what to do with the stock, man. Do I hold on in case something happens? Do I cut my losses and, put whatever money I have left into something like VOO or SCHD? I'm not sure what to do right now, man, but I'm going to think about it, and yeah, I'll come up with a decision by the next portfolio update. But anyways, take care, have a great day, and eat your vegetables.